Thank you both for joining me, Amy and Jim. You are both coming off very successful virtual events for your respective schools, St. Edward High School and Magnificat High School. And Amy, your event was actually scheduled for March 21st, which was
Correct.
very shortly after the realities of social distancing and the COVID-19 pandemic really hit.
Mm-hmm.
In turn, there was little time to pivot to a virtual event, and there were few examples really to follow with so little time.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find success in your virtual event despite some of these challenges?
The advancement team made a very bold decision on Friday, March 13th, and that was to pivot our March 21st gala into a virtual platform. This was our responsibility to move forward respectfully and launch an event to benefit the school community while taking into consideration that nobody really knew what was ahead of us. We really had the opportunity to give people a nice distraction because people were at home and most people weren't quite sure how long they were going to have to stay home and really what they were going to do for the next few months. It was critical for us to align very closely with our communications and our marketing team because they would be pushing out all of our communication pieces prior to and on March 21st, which was our gala's date. Additionally, our board of trustees had to be committed as influencers and reach out to their networks, classmates, and ask them to participate in the gala. The president of the school was really critical to our success. She was the very first voice our universe heard on March 21st. We had our gala over 5 days, using day 5 to announce the fund a need.
Jim, you had a little more time at St. Edward's to shift to a virtual event, and you ended up holding your virtual event over the course of 2 weeks in mid-late April. And in doing so, you were able to carry forward some of the traditional elements of your event, but you also really used this as an opportunity to introduce new creative ideas. So I'd be curious to hear how you merged the two, both tried and true ideas with some of these new concepts.
Yes, it was a first time ever, as we all know, for all of us. But we did have some time, and we had a couple other advantages. One, our auction was well established. It was our 23rd year doing it. It was the biggest community event at St. Ed's, and we had an incredibly strong and experienced development team. So they're highly regarded when it comes to everything, but obviously putting on the auction. So I really only had one meeting with them and to look at the big picture and say, okay, if we're going to pivot, what matters? And because it's such a big, important event for St. Ed's, what mattered to me was that it still be fun, still be creative, and that in fact it tried to build towards the actual date, right? So we actually had, had that date in people's heads so they'd actually bid on that day. So a couple days later, they came back with literally a 3 or 4 page diagram of what we were going to do. It's centered around our theme, which I thought was really cool, which was classic TV return. So a couple examples around the theme was on March 26th, I had a video come on that said we interrupt this programming for a special announcement that we would be going virtual. April 13th, we started with our pilot episode where we featured our student body president, Brennan, who did a wonderful job. The 20th, a week later, was when we normally would send our program out. And so we had that as a TV guide preview, which I thought was a creative way, centered around the Cheers theme. And then the actual auction date itself was our season premiere, and we kicked that off with some really cool videos and creative videos using Seinfeld, Office, and Friends clips from real live auctions, which was really very fun. Again, to get people excited about it. And then they did our team did a thing I thought was important. Was they moved the fund and need to its own day. So we followed up Sunday at noon. With the fund and need because it's such an important part of what we do. So that was how the 2 weeks were put together. And that was our season finale, which started with a wonderful video and ended with a group of students online singing the alma mater. So it was a pretty well thought out and well executed plan.
In both of your cases, though you moved to a virtual format, personal outreach was essential to your virtual event's success. Can you each share what you did to maintain those personal connections and what worked well?
The very first group that we reached out to were all of the ticket holders, and we asked all the ticket holders if they would like a reimbursement for their ticket or if they would like to make that as a charitable donation to Magnificat. So we communicated with that group. And then the next group we thought was really important to steward and to pay attention to were our corporate partners. So we sent out a very clever package to them along the theme of our auction gala, which was Come Sail Away. And then we did a good job communicating with all of our parents, all of the parent volunteers. We had my alumni director push this out on her alumni platform so that all the alumni were aware of what we were doing.
Our auction is very sponsorship driven. So our team reached out to every sponsor, and 95% of them came through and said you can keep the sponsorship despite not even having the live event. And then we always look at key trustees and others to provide gifts for our fund and need a seed, so you have some gifts planted already, and that's always been very successful for us.
What one tip would each of you offer to those who are looking ahead at their own virtual events?
I believe it's really important to use your students, to use your student groups, to figure out ways that you can capture them, do a short video and push that out. If you have a proficiency within one of your student organizations, we have a very strong dance team. The dance team always performs at the gala. So to use one of those groups to promote your virtual event is a really, really good idea, and it gets people excited, and there's lots of energy when they see the students and they realize this is why we support this school.
One, I think it's really important to preserve the spirit of the event, right? And so we wanted it to be fun and exciting, and we wanted people to all show up virtually. And so that was really important to us. Second, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to engage alums and others across the world. Everybody's has access now, and so that was really something to build on. Third one, I think we did a good job, and Amy kind of mentioned it, in using all our social media platforms to drive people to retweet things and get things out there. We did a virtual toast to kick off the auction, from home on the night of the auction. So that was important. And I think lastly, it's just easy to smart to try new things. We tried a new type of raffle we hadn't tried before. We did some other things. So, there's a lot of opportunity there. So try new things. If they don't work, don't do them. If they work, good for you.
Thank you both for sharing your tips, your ideas, your successes with us. And we certainly know this will help so many others as they move ahead. We, of course, wish both of you all the very best in the coming weeks and months as we all navigate the new realities of our philanthropy and relationship building.